Welcome to Melted. This is Frankie Melted Chapsticks Hollywood. Tonight's episode, we have Josh Hager of DeVo and Shadow Party, and we also have Tony Savarino, the Sav Tones. And here they are calling in early.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Oh, it's
here. I'm here.
It's so groovy. I am so grateful to have you two on the show tonight. Josh and I, we have a lot in common in the fact that Tony has been in both of our bands.
Are we recording this interview yet?
We can start it over, baby. I told you to call at 8:15. If I'm calling from a producer standpoint, you're 5 minutes early. You interrupted my intro, and I'm a diva right now. So we can just do the intro later.
I ruined your podcast already.
There was an over-under on how many seconds it would be, bro. So we can just start. I'm going to edit it anyways. So
you are?
Well, that's what we do. We throw it into Audacity, then we edit it and put it up. So I can do
Did you put a de-esser and a Neve 1126 on my voice when you do the mix down? And
Sean isn't around for all that stuff. Okay, pal. We can start this now if you like.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay.
Tell me when you're recording.
I've been recording this whole time. So we got.
All right, I got some ground rules.
Okay.
I'm stealing this from Duke Duke Levine from his Patreon. No back in the day. Back in the day, it was better, and no swearing.
Okay.
I can agree. Yeah.
Does that mean I can't bring up how you two met?
No, you could do that, but we can't say back in the day it was better. We could say back in the day.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to live in the eternal now, thanks to Buddha.
I guess we could because it's COVID, but
no, I guess what we could do is just follow those ground rules. Josh, do you have any you want to add?
No, I don't have any rules, man.
You seem like a great time, bro.
I don't do that to people. I don't.
I like the light and darkness. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Melted. Josh Hager, Tony Savarino. How are you guys doing tonight?
doing great.
Yep, great. How are you doing, man?
You know what? No complaints in the midst of it all. Josh, you and I have a lot in common, as it is a tagline on Tony's website. He's been in every band in Boston. He's been in your band and mine. How did you guys meet?
I think it's better if Tony tells the story. Tells it better than I do.
Okay, so I think it was probably 93 or 94. And I actually knew Josh's brother, Paul Hager, the world-renowned recording engineer, producer, and front of sound guy. And he was doing sound, front of house sound for the band I was playing in, which at that time was still Bozio. And I think we were coming off the road, and we went to Paul's parents' house. And we backed up this giant Winnebago down his driveway. And we got out, and who was waiting? It was almost like Josh was like an angel. Like, he was wearing an ascot, a smoking jacket, and a walking stick. Some of the best pair of pants, like custom fit pants with shirts, a beret.
I don't know about the beret. I don't know.
Some kind of hat.
I don't remember a beret. Yeah.
Was it a hat? What kind of hat would it have been? Anyways, and he had sunglasses on. It was pitch dark outside. And I think the first thing, hey, just getting off the road. I go, yeah, I'm Paul's brother, Josh. I'm tripping on acid.
Oh, my God.
Does that sound about right?
I don't know about the acid part. Man. I don't know if
Maybe it was shrooms. Could it have been shrooms?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
Okay. It could have just been, he was just tripping on life. Maybe that was it.
That was it. I was just in the moment.
He was in the moment, and he had this grin on his face. Like, I was like, I like this guy. And that's how we met.
Awesome. I really enjoyed and wanted to talk a bit about Garvey J. That's where I first saw you two play together with the Rock and Roll Rumble. Josh, how did you put that one together?
Let's see. That one came together because Fitz was the drummer in my previous band. I can't talk about back in the day, but
Wait, what? You can't talk about your old band?
no, you can't because you can't say back in, or you're not allowed to say the phrase.
You can talk about an old band.
Okay.
You can't just back. You can't say like back in the day it was this band which was much better, even though that's probably true.
Right. I'm sorry. Could you rephrase the question?
Okay. Tell me, I got to go to the Rock and Roll Rumble, and I saw Garvey J.
Yeah.
Wonderful time.
You want to know how we got into the Rock and Roll Rumble?
Or
Yes.
How we were put together as a band.
Well, I'd like to know both, actually.
Well, there were two versions, I think, of Garvey J. There was an early version with Fitz on drums, Eric Donahue on bass, Austin Lang on keyboard, Scott Janovich on guitar.
Yep.
And then
You had Tom, but Tommy was in both versions, wasn't he? No,
no, Eric
wasn't.
was,
He didn't come. No, you're right, because Eric Donahue was playing.
yes. So then there was another phase that was sort of my favorite. No disrespect to the other guys, but my favorite lineup was the Rumble lineup. It was Fitz and Dakota in the band, and wasn't Bill Janovich, Paul Janovich?
He might have been doing a Bill Janovich, which I think was playing percussion. I was on guitars. You're the three guitar attack with me, Scott, and you. And then we had Tommy and we had Fitz.
It was Paul Janovich, though, right? Not Bill.
Oh yeah, we had Paul. Paul was like doing like some like percussion and electronic based stuff, and I think hitting some samples.
Yeah, in like a white jumpsuit or something. He looked good.
Yeah. He had a character and a flair to the band that he hadn't had.
Peak setup. That was a peak moment in time.
It was.
Do you remember how we got into the Rumble, Josh?
I don't.
So at the time, this DJ who worked for Boston Emissions had asked Josh, "How can I get the elevator drops to play the Rumble?" And Josh said, "Well, why don't you just have Garvey J playing the Rumble as a competing band?"
Oh,
That's right. Angel Wood, she was a huge supporter early on.
Yeah. And so and everyone hated us.
No, they hated
Except the fans. The press hated us.
why do you think that was? I thought you guys were awesome.
It's the same reason they hate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, it seemed like there was quite a theme there with, going back to your first meeting, Tony, with Josh, with his ascot. It's really theatrical. I looked at the elevator drops, the outfits, and the different themes. You seem really creative, Josh.
That was definitely a fun moment in time. The elevator drops.
Yeah, I always describe it as like DeVo meets Kiss with amazing pop songs.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, or like an old Batman episode, like.
Why do they call it controversial? I saw some articles about that, but they didn't really explain why.
Oh, there's some great. You got to tell him a classic E-Drop story.
Oh man, there's so many. I don't even know where you begin. Let's just.
Why don't you tell him the Letters to Leo story?
No, I mean you can't go there, man.
Okay, why don't you tell him the Well, you can tell him the Oasis story.
Yeah, that's a good one.
An Oasis Blur story. You can tell him that.
We got kicked off. I think we were supposed to tour with Blur, and we played at Avalon. No, with them, and we came out with full makeup and a light up Oasis kick drum head, and I think it was just blinking on and off Oasis through the whole set. I remember there was the huge Blur Oasis battle, and Fitz plastered their tour bus with Oasis bumper stickers while they were on stage. And we only did one. It was one show. That was it.
They didn't get the joke, man.
It did.
How to win friends and influence people. You guys are doing a great job.
We like to shoot ourselves in the foot because it was the funniest thing. It was pure comedy, man. Pure comedy.
Another story, Josh, is I like is how you started getting really good dates in the Middle East. I think that's like a good old school business lesson.
Oh yeah. Wendy Schlensky called one day, and she sold ads on the back of the calendar at the Middle East, and I think there were like 4 of them. She came down to the studio and she's like, "Do you guys want to buy an ad on the back of the calendar?" And I said, "How much?" I think they were $80, and I said, "All right, we'll take 10 of them, but for $50." So we took them, and then I waited, and then she called. I knew she was sitting next to the booking agent of the club, and she said, "Sorry, I got distracted there." Yeah, she called to ask for the money, and
you guys there? Hello?
He's still distracted.
Oh.
I don't know. I can't wait to hear.
And that was it.
So we completely missed that whole thing, bro.
Let's move on.
Okay, perfect. Is that like something to teach musicians during interviews when you don't want to tell a story to do the old fake out, breakout phone calls not working?
That's the lesson. That's it right there.
Silence is important, you know? Silence is important, you know?
No, absolutely. I think, do you have stories about Tony then? Can we turn this around to the Dark Lord?
Oh. What's a good Tony story? Well, be more specific.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Tony. No. Tony has good stories about me, but I remember
those.
The first time we met, my first lesson 12 years ago.
Oh, so yeah, that's a funny story, Frankie.
All right, let's hear it.
So I met Frankie when I used to post for lessons on Craigslist. Actually, that's how I reconnected with Josh too. Was Craigslist for Garry J audition. But Frankie called me. He sent me an email. Said, "Can I call you?" I said, "Sure." And he called me, and I'm like, "This guy is he for real?" Like, I just thought he was totally like just taking piss out of me, trolling me, right? Yeah. But he set up a lesson. Like, so I had this like lesson before him, and this girl, one of my favorites was this girl named Vicky, and she was before me. I said, "Vicky, will you hang around with me? I got this guy Frankie coming up, and I don't know what his deal is. I'm a little scared." And then it was just, he came in and he was Frankie, and he said hello to my mom, and my mom loved him, and he was the right type of wacky, and he just became a member of the family, extended member of the family, and he's, I tried to wean him off Nirvana, and I never succeeded. And we came up with sort of this sort of shtick where he would video a lesson about, or I would like he'd come in and ask to learn another Nirvana song, and I'd like banish him from the, But Frankie turned out to be a real friend, man. Gave me rides, was there when I needed him. We've done a couple. I'd never been to a St. Patty's Day parade. I grew up in South Boston. I had never been to a St. Patty's Day parade until I met Frankie, and he got me playing on the back of a truck with him and a bunch of other dudes.
No, wow.
That's like a high point, which was really fun. When back before the plague, Frankie comes to all the shows. Frankie's good people. That's all I got to say about him.
Yeah, I remember, even I really appreciated Tony, for, myself starting so late in life in music. I picked the bass because it only had 4 strings. And you kept, encouraging me musically and, telling me not to be a poser and maybe learn the instrument. So that was most appreciated, your honesty. And I remember what you said about the St. Patrick's Day Parade. You loved it because we had a new audience every block.
Yeah, it's great. You have a 4 or 5 song set, you play through it, then that block is over, and then you just start it all over again. It's the best rehearsal for a band ever. If I can give it a piece of advice, when all this ends and you get an opportunity to play on a float on a parade, do it. It's the best live experience for your band ever, because you can immediately fix mistakes that you made in the previous set on the next block.
Well, that's the thing, Josh. Have you said no to a project lately?
No.
Okay, would you like to join us in the St. Patrick's Day Parade when the plague opens?
I'll think about it. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I like that. I remember being outside a Great Scott for one of your shows, you and Tony.
You were on like a blind date, like a Tinder date. Yeah,
probably. And what I love about Tinder now is everybody looks better because they're all wearing masks.
I was wondering today if the breath mint industry has taken a hit because of that. And the cologne. I mean, I was thinking about putting some cologne on today and going out, but I was like, nobody's going to smell me.
I remember.
Yeah, that's right. I've thought about that too. What's the point? You don't have to wear anything anymore.
I mean, showering is optional nowadays.
You got the big coat, you got the sweatpants on. Nobody will know that you haven't, showered for 3 days.
No, it's the benefits of a pandemic. I remember being outside a Great Scott, and I asked you, Josh, I said, what's your future going to be? And then you end up in DeVo, Shadow Party. What was that experience like?
Yeah, Josh, how'd you get the DeVo gig?
I auditioned, but luckily I was the first one to audition. So, and they just were like, "All right, yeah, fine." All right.
But you kind of had worked with them in other capacities before.
Yeah, I worked a little bit on. My brother was working with them on the last Something for Everybody, right? And I did a session with them at Sunset Sound, which was
you did? What studio?
We were in the Studio 3, the Prince room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, standing where, right there at that board.
So for your listeners who don't know, Sunset Sound is where so many amazing records were recorded. Stones recorded there, the Doobie Brothers, Van
Halen,
Montrose, just countless. It's got it's really great sounding rooms and great echo chambers and great mics, and that's a really big deal to be there. So you find yourself in Sunset Sound with DeVo.
Right. Yeah. So that was fun. And then, unfortunately, Bob Casal passed away, and they had some gigs lined up, and Jerry called me and gave me like 4 days notice or something. And flew to LA, auditioned with them without Mark the first time, and then first rehearsal was in Chicago, opening for Arcade Fire at the Bull Dome, whatever. And we had one rehearsal, and we just were in the studio. We played. I think we ran through it once. And then right before we were going on stage, I didn't know if I was going to be on stage or not. I thought I was going to be like behind a curtain or something, And Jerry had me try on the suit. It fit. I went out and I did it.
How far after did you end up playing on was it a broken foot or a broken leg? And how did that happen?
The old broken knee story. Yeah. All right, let me wheel this one up. We were doing a show in Times Square. It was like us, Billy Idol, Jane's Addiction, and they closed off the section. And we go out and did, I think it was Satisfaction first, then Uncontrollable Urge, the first jump. Snap! Came down, my knee was, the whole bottom of my leg didn't work. So that was a interesting rush of adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jesus. Was it painful?
No, it was more confusing. It was like, why is my leg not working? Like I'm trying to do some work here. I'm trying to do my choreography. I was trying to pop the knee back in because I thought it was dislocated. I didn't know. So yeah, finished the rest of it on one leg, and then straight to the hospital.
That must have been so weird.
I was pissed. I wanted to see Billy Idol and Jane's Addiction.
Oh man.
And how?
And then
Go ahead.
And then from there, it got worse. And then I get on a train, and I'm going home on a train up to Boston. I get off in a wheelchair. The wife, girlfriend picks me up. We go back home, the kids, and this girl answers the door, and it's like some German girl. I'm like, who are you? She's like, I'm Torsten's daughter. And Torsten was my girlfriend, wife thing, her first boyfriend, who was absolutely obsessed with her. So I come home, and this German nanny who's going to be living with us for 6 months or something, and it just went south from there.
Oh, it's so weird. Get the gig, relationship falls apart. Sounds like a familiar story.
Yeah, actually, it happened. It happened the night before I left to do the first audition. We were moving from one house to another at the time, and the new house we bought, I designed a studio in the basement. So I had my whole studio packed up. I'm sitting there with my luggage. I'm tying my shoes, and she comes up the stairs and says, "Well, I don't think you should have a studio in the next house, and I want you to put everything in storage when you get back." So I came. That was it.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Went to LA and auditioned.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now Josh, why don't you tell them about some of the producing you've done? Because you've worked on a lot of cool production projects as a producer. Here, the first one I'll tell you is I got a new record coming out. Called Quarantine Reno. It's the fifth in the trilogy.
Nice.
Okay.
And Josh mixed a tune on that. We do one ambient tune per record.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what Josh does in terms of that, but he can also do great pop and rock production. And I've done a couple sessions for him on that. Who was that band? They're like Europe that met. They're like Europe.
The Final Countdown?
Oh, dude. Oh,
They were
one
awesome.
One of my favorite bands I ever produced.
Yeah, that's why I brought them up.
Yeah, well, they were Neon Kingdom, and then they changed
Neon Kingdom
to Kingship. So now they're called Kingship. I highly recommend listening to them and watching their videos.
Yeah, they sound. They're like better than Europe.
Yeah, Europe on steroids.
Yes, Europe on steroids, and with an American touch. Awesome.
Definitely a touch.
Yes, definitely a special American touch.
Tony, how
You
cool?
also worked with some people who, you produce some other people that are pretty cool too. Well, didn't you do like early work with Lana Del Rey?
Well, she was called Lizzie Grant at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. My friend Steven. I played with Adam Green. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all.
Oh, I remember when you were touring with him. You were doing all those awesome amphitheaters in Europe.
That was good times. That was opening for the Strokes and who else? It was like this little traveling festival where it was like Sigur Rós and Death Cab for Cutie, the Strokes, us. Yeah,
Like indie royalty.
it was fun. Yeah, but my friends Parker and Steve Mertens. Steve does the videos for Kingship. They're hand animated.
They're hand animated? Like,
Yeah, he's an amazing animator. Yeah.
that's another thing. Why don't we tell Frankie's story about War is Over video?
Yeah. Do you know that video, Frankie?
I will pull it up right now. Actually, no, I saw it on your Bandcamp, correct?
Yeah, it's like sort of animated.
Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah.
That was I think it was a grant that the director got as a student at MIT for some sort of camera movement apparatus that he made. So they needed to test it out. They needed somebody to test it out on. And I think they approached Amanda Palmer.
Okay.
And she couldn't do it, but she recommended us or something. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, that was cool. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. I still have the cities, the sets in my
If you
dad's
built
garage.
this miniature set, Frankie, and it's really cool video. It's probably one of the best rock videos I've ever seen. To me, it's kind of like Money for Nothing video, like that, but different. You know, when Money for Nothing came out, it was all digital the first time. Whoa, by Dire Straits.
I think Frankie's using my trick.
No, not at all. I'm enjoying this very, very much. Tony's great at that. Is your album the third in the compilation almost finished?
It's fifth, and so COVID hit. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I moved all my teaching online, but I wasn't, I've done like one live gig, but I'm like, what am I going to do with all this time? So, I decided to buy this really good modeling amplifier, and it sounds like a real guitar amplifier, but it won't affect any of my neighbors. And I started recording a record, and Sean, my bass player, has a studio. Was like, "Well, send us a track. We'll put bass and drums to him." So now, 11 songs later, in the process of mixing, we're gonna have a new Savtones record out. And as I said before, Josh mixed the track on there, which sounds really, really great. But actually, I could send you an MP3 of it if you wanted to hear it for the show.
That'd be great.
And what the heck song was it? It was I'm forgetting the name. I'm spacing the name. So I've been doing sessions for other people as well too, guitar sessions from home. So in that respect, it's been kind of good because I've probably gotten more sessions from COVID as if I were rather than if I was available in person. So people hit me up all the time for guitar tracks. That's kind of cool.
And then what about being a professor at Berkeley? Are you doing online stuff for them?
I mean they laid us all. So I'm just a summer session. I only do the summer program, and we're hired as contractors. So typically around this time of year, I would hear from them. I haven't heard from them. They suspend. I don't know if they suspended the 5-week program or they just had regular full-time professors do it because they're afraid they wouldn't have enough work for the full-time. So, but there at Berkeley, I teach when I am teaching a 5-week program, and that's for mainly for ages 16 to whatever. So I've taught everybody from 16 to 70-year-olds there, and I teach ensembles and a music theory course.
Awesome.
So that's about the deal with that. And I also teach at Mass Ave Music, which is, and I'm still teaching students for them even through the pandemic. So, that's about what's going on for me. And one record I just played on just came out was this guy named Chuck McDermott, and actually Josh engineered one of the songs on that record. He engineered it. This guy Chuck McDermott, who wrote a couple of tunes, and he works with this drummer Marco DeVo. He plays drums for Robert Plant and Tom Jones, and I brought Josh in on that. Just he needed an engineer last minute, so we went up there and helped him out. And I think that was a COVID session, right?
Was it?
Or was that right before?
It was before.
It was right before. So,
and I fell on the ice at that session and hurt my knee. Right.
Yeah, that was a scary spill. I mean, you should have had that salted better, but but you did, dude. You made it through the session, man. That's really all that matters.
And
that's the thing about Josh, man.
What's that?
Josh, doesn't matter what happens. Car crashes, somebody catches on fire. He's doing the gig. It's all done.
Well, so were you, according to Joe Filoni. You were so sick one night, and Joe was like, just go home, Tony, and you wouldn't.
No, I had to puke in between songs. I got food poisoning. Joe Filoni, shout out to him, guitar god. From the old hood.
Yes, he is. He's great. Speaking of which, he's teaching over at Carlino Guitars. Josh, have you ever...
you got to go to Carlino's, man.
Yeah, have you been, Josh?
No, where's that?
It's in Medford. He does only... he can make you a custom Iceman. He's got a CNC machine. Thanks to Frankie. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Oh, no, he also gave me he did a rhinestone one for me, a la Kiss, PS 120.
It's like a metal guitar shop from the 80s.
How's the neck on it?
It's nice. It's sweet. It's just now I have to learn how to play it. So that's why I'm going to do a quick Zoom with Tony. Tony, help me.
Tony, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Just got distracted for a moment.
That's the thing. Like, distracted telephone calls now during COVID, because everyone's like, yeah, you got time. I'm going to do the dishes while I'm talking to you. And,
I like to clean the bathroom.
Right? It's like you got to multitask while you're talking. And interviews should be the same.
You hear that a lot. I like to accuse people who are on keyboard of being outside and in a snowstorm.
Yeah. The only other exciting thing some of your listeners might find this fascinating is my loftmate Dwayne, Master Dwayne, has 2 grandchildren who've been quarantining the whole time. One's 4 and one's 3 years old. But they come over on the weekends, right? Because it's Dwayne, so they're here with us. And we have this thing where we all like to watch Star Trek Rebels at the end of the day. And Dwayne's like a master martial artist. So he's been training them since they were 2, right? And the deal is I'm sitting, we're all watching Star Wars Rebels, and they take turns climbing up on my shoulders and standing without holding on to anything, completely balanced, watching a TV show.
There's a pic on Facebook of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And each one will stand for like 5-6 minutes and let the other one get up and do it.
Is his son a Jedi Master as well? He's jacked.
Who?
Master's son.
Wayne?
Yeah. His son.
Yeah, he's like, he works out the sword and the bag and the Wing Chun dummy. You just got a dummy, right? Right, Josh?
I've been on it the whole time we've been talking.
That's so
Throat chop.
You're gonna help me find a good resource for the dummy form. Well, there it is. You can hear it. That's so cool. Okay, that's another funny story about me and Josh. I'd love to tell. So
Yeah, we're
me and
actually.
Josh studied with the same martial arts instructor, Sifu Chi Bang, right?
Yep.
So when we started working out with him, we'd be at all these like hipster parties, outdoor hipster parties, and me and Josh would just start practicing our martial arts in the middle of the party with each other.
That's
Throwing
right.
punches, doing chi sao. People are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Oh, I broke a rule. What the F are you guys doing? And we'd literally sit there for hours. My girlfriend would get so pissed off. It was great. I loved it,
I think we did it in like these East German leather coats that we had.
Yes. East German leather coats.
They were nice coats, though. Come on.
They were the best. Dude, that was my idea. I wore the first one at our LA show, 2008 New Year's show at BB King's in LA.
Remember the Garry J
Deployment jackets?
Yeah, the deployment jackets. Yeah.
The French deployment jackets.
Yeah, those are cool. I like
Those are totally cool. My mom wore hers all the time.
Did she?
Yeah, she loved that jacket. I still have it. Yeah. It's a great jacket. And I still have mine. Did you ever get one, Frankie? Did you ever get a deployment coat?
I probably should have. I was at enough shows. I did not.
I mean, you were at you're president of the fan club, pretty much.
Yes.
I'll search our warehouse and see if we have any.
Yeah, we'll get you. You need a deployment coat.
Yeah, everybody needs one.
That sounds great. We'll hook that right up.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
So you guys did it. How extensive was your tour? You were in LA and where else?
Not expensive at all. We need money.
Where'd you guys end up going besides LA?
We just did a one-off LA show.
That's all you needed.
That's our style, man. We fly in, we just bang it out, we go home. That's it. We're home in bed by 12.
That sounds like my world tour T-shirt. East-y, South-y.
Got the Concord straight, Concord.
You guys do big timers, baby.
You guys had the family out of jail.
Oh, we were in the money then.
So then, as far as with COVID, besides that, anything else going on with you guys?
Just martial arts.
What's that?
Good.
I'm just practicing a lot.
I mean, I'm actually doing that myself. I'm actually learning how to play the guitar.
Good. That's awesome.
Don't learn too much, though, man. Don't get too good. Yeah.
How do you make that wild ambient sound?
Just learn how to play Highway to Hell, the whole record, front to backwards. That'll get you started.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Learn it on drums, bass, and guitar.
Well, actually, Tony, you helped with the music for some of my originals.
That's right. Yeah, we've worked on a couple. We've done some songwriting together.
Yes, and I think you told me if this goes big, your lawyers will be coming after me.
Yeah.
You're like, Frankie, sign here. I'm like, okay.
I'll be coming off you, but with love.
Oh, God. Josh, do you want to say any more about Shadow Party?
That was a fun sort of experiment. I mean, it had its moments. That was, a good time. Got to meet a lot of really, really cool people over in England. And
the record sounded great, Josh. I love the record.
Thank you.
You did. I mean, okay, so Josh, let's get something straight here. Josh, he plays on these records. He's also producing, arranging, songwriting, playing killer guitar. Like he does a lot on his records. He's mixing, he's tracking. I mean, he does so much on these records.
That one was a good balance of it was mostly Tom and myself, like sort of bouncing stuff back and forth.
But I mean, not just that record, but on all your records that you're a part of, you really work your ass off. It shows.
I don't think of it as work,
No, I know, but it is, it's like you're out, you're grinding it out. You love it. That's great, but you do a lot. I mean, it's not just vocals and a rhythm guitar track. He's, playing keyboards. He's doing all sorts of cool stuff.
How long does it take to do a record then, Josh?
It depends on the record.
Depends on the record.
If you want to make something kind of punk rock, you just do it in like an hour. And if you want to be,
I'm in luck. Okay.
Like just bang it out. Go into a place, have it already set up, and just play. I don't know, but you could just go on forever with records, especially nowadays with Pro Tools and stuff. It's a matter of releasing material, finishing stuff. How do you release it and where? That matters anymore.
Well, that's a good question. Speaking of Spotify, it seems like I have some friends that have millions of views, but they're not making any money. Where's the money nowadays?
Well, I mean, some of it was in touring, but that's a slog, man. Unless you got backing behind you. I mean, people do it on their own.
Also, there's tech millennials cashed in on us. First, it was the record companies, and
I think it's about video games nowadays. Yeah.
Don't tell that to Kirk Schilling. No, yeah, maybe it is. I mean, it just seems like you get all these views on Spotify. A dummy gets punched in the background, and no one's making any money.
That's right. No one's making any money.
Especially from recording.
You gotta have good merch. Like when I used to work at movie theaters when I was a teenager, I remember this one owner said, "Look, kid, you're not in the movie business, you're in the popcorn business."
Here's some licorice.
Here's some licorice. Now sit down.
Well, I'm excited also. I have Angel Wood on the show coming up in the next couple of weeks. Do you have any questions for Angel?
Angel?
Yes.
I don't have any.
Just say, hey, how you doing? Hope you're well.
Yeah, good. I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen her in a long time. She was really good to us.
Yeah, she was very good to us.
And that's the thing, like with the Rumble, it's just, I mean, what's the over-under of this thing ending and us being able to go back to quote-unquote normal?
Normal how? Like live
Like Great
shows?
Scott will come back, or, play some venues.
Yeah, places that sell booze will always do that, You're in the booze business.
You're in the booze, yeah. That's it. Yeah.
The band and all that stuff, that's just, getting people in the door to drink.
But, we were actually having a conversation. There used to be a time when you went out to shows, not just to see a band, but to meet someone, maybe get lucky, meet a guy or a girl, get
paid.
Tinder ruined all that,
And things like Tinder.
Hey,
Bumble, kind of like,
hey, not to say that the old days were better.
We would never do that. Nope.
We would never do that.
I mean, I miss OK Stupid, that dating site. I met a beautiful Russian girl
Oh, right.
Yeah, you like the master of this dating app.
So the girl said to me her first three questions: how much money do you make, where do you work, and when do you want to make a baby? I said, you look so good, let's pop in the bathroom, start the family. Best 20 seconds of your life, 30 seconds with Viagra. And then she said, I dated somebody from Southie. And I said, did you like him? She goes, not at all. And I said, you know what? You and I slept together 4 years ago. It's when I was in my drinking days. She didn't recognize me with my long hair, and she was talking about me.
Oh, my God, Frankie.
A reason to stay in from now on. Another thing is, if you guys look this up, Florida metal musician turns Uncle Skeleton into a Skelecaster.
Oh, I saw that.
What do you think of that?
I think it's really
It's fake news, man. It's fake news.
Fake news is really creative. That's what I like about it. Some of the best creativity is coming out of fake news.
We could probably,
To me, news is, I don't really look at it as news as more conceptual art pieces.
Well, I wanted to propose maybe starting a new band, and what would the name of it be with the three of us and a drummer?
The three of us and a drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Or another, Lives Ruined Through Music. I'll play bass.
Clickbait. But it's still click. Clique.
Clickbait.
Clickbait.
Better than master.
Which reminds me, there is this really seminal industrial sort of noise art band that Josh worked with from Dortmund, Germany, called Smile Frown. Smile Frown. Yeah.
Smile Frown.
And we should try to find a video, but we hosted their drummer. What was his name again, Josh?
What was it?
Dieter
Wolf.
Dieter Wolf. Yeah, that's right. Dieter Wolf.
Dieter Wolf.
And he really liked experimenting with tunings of drums, and that's how they would record him.
It was a shooting instructional video, I believe.
Yeah.
With Dieter. An evening with Dieter.
Yeah. Dieter Wolf, great band. Great. I mean,
them, the Pillowheads weren't bad. Do you remember them?
From Canada?
Yeah.
What was their deal?
They were like junkies, They traveled from town to town touring, and they'd show up and just borrow bands' gear and put pillows on their heads with faces on them, drawn. And they had a song. They only played one song. It was called "Can't Get No Sleep." And they come out and they start pounding this beat. Da, 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 da. Can't get no sleep. Can't get no sleep. Oh, Pillowhead. And then they'd slowly fall asleep on stage, and then the music would start it was like this ambient, whatever loop was happening at that moment when they fell asleep would go for 40 minutes, 45 minutes maybe, and people were just confused, and then they'd get back up, for another 10 minutes, and then they were gone. Nobody knew who they were.
That's all. There were a thing. Actually, a picture just surfaced from their shows on some social media, and yeah. Actually, you know what was cool, man? I'll tell you what. Just when we played that place at Harvard Square, that theater.
Was that a Jim Morrissey show?
No. This was the one where we played, and we hired that alien group of guys to be our road crew.
Alien? Oh, wait.
Alien? We hired the Greys, and they showed up.
Oh, right. That's right. And ask Angel about the alien invasion of her station.
Yeah. Ask her about the alien invasion, because we were on the road, and we were going from New York to Boston, and we were just come from a run from Ryan's Deli, and on the side of the road we saw this, this disc crashed, and there was a bunch of aliens. They needed a ride, and they were great. They stayed with Josh for a few weeks. They ended up, roadieing for us and helping us out a lot with our gear, making various upgrades, and they finally got the part they needed for their ship. We took them back, and they went back from wherever the fuck they were from.
Over yonder. Another foul, Tony.
Yeah, foul. I almost fell in it back in the day. But...
You should have a show called Back in the Day, and that's all you do. Is talk about it.
That's our band right there, Back in the Day.
Back in the day, and every interview is about another Boston 1980s, like remembered much better than it actually was. Story.
And maybe the channel will be included in that. Maybe.
Oh, the channel's a film set. Actually, we have another one built on the same spot. We're doing a shoot here for Netflix called Back in the Day.
Back in the Day.
If we can remix that for sure.
Back in the Day. Followed by Money Shot.
I think I'm really excited, Josh, to have you on the St. Patrick's float maybe in 2025 when this thing is over. We're going to hold you to that.
Can I be just checking my email the whole time?
Yeah.
My numbers? Like, can I just sit there and over the PA just shout out my number? Okay, I'm up to...
Dude, we should reenact.
Come on, let's make this happen. We got to get above 1,000 likes. Donate $1 a like. Just donate $1. One like. That's it. That's our motto. $1, 1 like.
Oh my God.
I'm ready for that.
You get a date with Tony.
Oh no. I don't want to go on that date.
No, we were actually
going an hour. Is that enough for you, Frankie?
Yeah, we're really right there. I can't thank you. Well, why don't you just kind of, if you want to plug some of your stuff real quick.
Look out for the new record, Quarantinerino. I'll be out on Bandcamp.
Look out for my new cooking show featuring of Jacques Pepin, where we prepare a light breakfast during quarantine. Don't forget to hit the like button. $1, 1 like.
$1.
Don't forget to help the little people.
We're doing our best. Thank you for joining Melted, and I want you guys to have a spectacular evening, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Love you, Frankie.
Love you guys.
All right.
Bye. Well, that was Josh Hager and Tony Savarino. Lots of fun. They're not afraid to tell us not about the old days, because they weren't any better than they are right now. I think it was just a really nice perspective about their lives and their music, and anything's possible if you believe. So that's it. Frankie Melted Chapsticks Hollywood signing off from Melted. Want everyone to have a great night. When you get a chance, head down to Carlino Guitars, get yourself a guitar made. Thank you.
This podcast was produced in collaboration with the Boston Free Radio Podcast Network, part of BostonFreeRadio.com and Somerville Media Center, Somerville's longest-running public access media center that enables a vibrant and diverse community to express its creativity, explain its ideas, share its cultures, and foster the individual right to freedom of speech. Learn more about Somerville Media Center at somervillemedia.org, or check out some of the other amazing Boston Free Radio podcasts and radio shows at bostonfreeradio.com. Thanks for listening.